said, leave it all here. Now, there's a question that feels like it needs to be answered. And the question is, why do I make videos as I'm making them at the moment? And the answer would be because it's what I feel like. And one reason why I feel like doing this is because there's simply so much that I experience. I cannot condense it at the moment. It's too much. I have to, it's like I'm Crash Bandicoot and I have limited amount of time to get, to keep Cortex, what was his name? No, Neo, I don't really remember. This weird guy with the weird laugh that I always pressed away because I really dislike storytelling in video games, or I used to dislike it because I had no patience and I wasn't really interested in all this stuff that they were telling anyway, because it's just made up junk. It's like irrelevant. With a book, of course, it's different. And there's one reason why I'm making a lot of experiences. Actually, there are probably several. But also, you want to say you're an author. I write books. But what do you write books about? I know people, and the only books they write is about books they read. And then they act like, yeah, that's all my knowledge. I write books about experiences. That's where I draw my insights from. Because only experiences give me an emotion. Now, this sounds a little bit, unromantic. It sounds like, well, are you only doing this so that you can write books and make money? Well, I'm experimenting. And sure, there's always that part. And we all have that. That greedy part. It's the part that eats sugar once and then wants to eat it again and again and again and again until you feel sick. There's people that had so much money and then they gave it all away. I don't really know what Ramdas did with his money because he never talked about it. He said he had a lot of money. He had his own private airplane and that kind of stuff. But he never said what he did with his money, which is weird. Because he could have said it, right? It's like, but maybe he didn't want to give us that because it would have made him feel like he would try to look very good. Or maybe he just still also felt a little bit bad about not having the money anymore. Or maybe he gave it all to Neem Karoli Baba, right? Who is to say? What I know is that I feel like doing things, and when I'm alone at home, I really feel like doing things. And if I don't feel like doing things, then I just sit around and wait until I feel like doing something. Because sometimes it's actually not that I don't want to do something, it's that there are too many options available to me. And this morning, for instance, I was like going mad between several options. Yeah, I saw a snake the other day. Doesn't happen often. Actually, it never happened to me really in Germany. And now I saw one for the first time. I didn't really expect it, but I was really happy that I saw one. For other people, it's like very unsettling. So, oh my God, how scary. And I thought, I want to have you around my neck. It's like, some people, they like life at a distance. I like life really close. And this is right? This is as close to life as you can get. But sometimes this is also a little bit boring, so I'm seeking out adventures. This morning I had the idea, you know, I'm gonna go for a run. Actually, I didn't think I would run. I thought I'm just gonna quickly get coffee, and I'm also gonna get tahine, because I felt like I need energy. And then I left, and suddenly I started running, and then I was running at full speed, and my lungs was burning. My lung was burning, but of course, you know, it's actually good, because it's a sign. I mean, if your lungs are burning, yeah, then you have neglected them a little. And then I was like feeling out pressure points in my neck and here, collarbone and stuff, just seeing where it hurts, and when it hurt, I applied pressure. Then sometimes I apply pressure here, and I feel it in the back. And in the back is also where the fear sits. So you see how, because this is the throat chakra, right? The 5th chakra. And so you see how truth, because this is how this is connected, speaking truth, but your throat is also connected to your ears, hearing truth. You know, if you're trying to lie to yourself, you're also trying to lie about the messages you're getting. And so if fear sits in the neck, that is what we say, right? And you're afraid, it's like, you do like this, and then it's also here. So it, you know, it's a whole system. And that, of course, then also has an effect on your 3rd eye chakra. Yeah. You know, the stinging nettles are very powerful psychotropic plants, actually. The most intense high I ever had was when I don't know, do you say, I treated myself, I spanked myself with stinging nettles, and I literally had the feeling from that experience I could have almost vanished. But I came back and I wrote that story into the book. You know, you have to do a bit of commercials. Transcendence of life as we know it. But yeah, I have a very deep respect for stinging nettles because of such experiences, and they also once came to me in a, what I would call, spiritual dream, which I had at night in the forest. Well, I also did ingest mushrooms, which is not something that I advise, I'm just saying that I did. And the stinging nettle woke me up in the middle of the night. It was like, you know, it was like a buzzing, zoop, and then suddenly it was like, almost like a shock. I mean, that kind of intense energy, you know, that's not something you get from electricity. You know, it's not the kind of shock that's like, that just hurts. It's the kind of, it's like a healing shock. And that's the first time I became aware of stinging nettles. And I started making experiences with them. And what I realized was that when I felt very tense, and very tense in the neck and shoulders and my back, you know, the areas that I can't just easily massage. I had times where I used stinging nettles frequently, and I applied them to these spots. And yeah, you sometimes don't know. I'm just gonna keep walking because I have somewhere to be, and I'm trying to still sort out where it is.
Der eine ist nicht gekommen und der andere, der traute sich dann doch nicht näher. Der hat nur rumgeklebt.
Die sind teilweise echt blind.
Yeah. Anyway, So the way it was, I'm a little bit confused. Sometimes I'm kind of hanging in the air. It might be that the last few days I drank a bit of alcohol, because I'm also experimenting with that, and that also means that you don't just drink every day. A lot of people, they start drinking alcohol and then they just drink it every day. I don't know why, because maybe they feel like, oh, now I've given in. Apparently I'm going to be an alcoholic now. And that's the kind of feeling I had, because people feel like if they once allow themselves to be weak and lazy, they just have to be weak and lazy all the time. But why can't they just be weak and lazy once and then not drink it anymore? Which is, yeah, sure, man. You go to a party, maybe somebody invited you, they have beer, and then you drink 2 beer. Then you don't drink 15, because you're gonna have to wake up in this body tomorrow, which is why 2 beer is enough. And when other people come and say, drink more, let's get really shit-faced, you say, why? I have nothing to forget about, because I'm trying to be as conscious as I can be. So if I drink 2 beer, because maybe I like the taste, and maybe once in a while I like this feeling of, whoa. I get this. Sometimes I do these things. But it's also been over a year since I drank my last glass of wine. And so it was a couple of days ago that I drank 2 beer. And then I had the chance to get another 2 beer. But I didn't buy them. They were just there, and I asked, can I have them? And they were given to me. But then the problem is I wake up the next day, and one of the thoughts I'm having is, where can I get more beer? And then the other thought I was having, where can I get more sugar? and coffee, right? This is what people do, including me, but I'm doing it less now, which is just stuff themselves with things that make them feel a little bit riled up or make them forget their suffering. But that's the challenge of the spiritual path. It's to carry your suffering until the end and trying to use as many things that get you away from it as possible. So, I'm constantly concerned with having sex. I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with having sex. I'm telling you that I'm obsessed with having sex. And I've talked to you elaborately about my problems with women and how I'm so uncertain if I know who my wife is and all that kind of stuff. If it boils down to it, or when you boil it down, it's all bullshit. It's all just complaining about meh. There's people that had a wife and then the wife died, and there's people that never had a wife at all, and then there's people that actually don't even want a wife. And sagt, aber ich will hören, was sagt. And so that's basically why it's all bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to complain about having a wife or not having a wife or loving a woman, but the woman is somewhere else, because nobody's forcing you to love that woman. Because if I'm really honest to myself, I've been loving her because she gave me something that I could love from a distance, that I could obsess over and focus on without using her for sex or whatever, right? She was a point in the distance. And whether that still is or isn't, sure, that's a reason to be a little bit depressed about. But it's also a reason to be happy about. Because just imagine she isn't it. Isn't that also wonderful? When you could say, oh wow, how exciting. Maybe I'm going to get to know somebody else. Maybe there's some woman that really wants my love, because apparently she didn't want it. Otherwise she would have come back for it. Or she would have at least said something. Or she would have at least sent a letter that says, hey, better luck next time or something, right? But she did nothing. I mean, she said, you know, I don't know what to say, or, you know, I have nothing to say to you, which says a great deal, but I didn't want to hear it. And still now there's this nagging doubt in myself. Maybe she still loves you. It's like, fuck off, man. You want to fight or you want to die? Because I'm fighting for my life. I mean, it's like, what's the point of chasing women that don't want you? And now I'm back in this topic again. And I have the feeling I either have to say, okay, that's how it is. Maybe I screwed up the relationship, and maybe she did, and maybe we really are fated for each other, or we just couldn't hack it, or maybe there are just other people. But if I'm really honest, and that's the point that bothers me the most, that every time I think about sleeping with other women, I realize that she's the only one that I want. Because she's the only one that can keep up with me, or could keep up with me. And I do actually think that she is keeping up with me, or at least trying to get to wherever I am. I don't really know. Right, so if I would just accept it, that she's the only one, because I've tested lots of women. You know, I've tested them sexually. And now the only thing I have to do to test a woman is just be in her presence. Which means, I've already talked about this, but I go to the boulder hall and I see someone who's attractive. And, you know, I just try to feel into this. And then I try to see her for what she really is. Which is why I have to pay attention. You know, I don't have to sit there and stare at her. But, you know, we're talking about consciousness, right? When I walk through the city, I have consciousness all around me. I'm connected to everything. Which means I can see things that are somewhere there. And I can even put them into a category. Without having to stare at them with my, you know, fleshy meatball eyes. I can just be aware and perceive things with my kind of spiritual awareness. Yeah, if you train that, and if you maybe don't drink alcohol all the time, and maybe don't just eat sugar all the time, but I'm still quite fond of sugar, I cannot help it. And there's a part of me that says, yeah, I'm absolutely going to buy sugar. And I come to the forest so that I can just sort myself out a little. And I discovered a really nice thing. And I want to show you before they hack it to bits. I want to show you what I discovered. I also discovered that I have new skills that I developed by going to the boulder hall. And also by all the other things that I did. It's like animal movement, right? It all came together. And now I can do this. What do you mean? You're just talking? No, man. Because I'm seeing it already. And it's a little bit of a challenge. There certainly is fear involved. But I also have practiced, you know, keeping my balance enough at this point that I'm fairly certain that I can do this. And I'm happy that I don't really use music in these videos, because there's nothing worse than hearing this terrible music. Okay, I have to check this like that. Kabooyah! Yeah, the problem with parks like this is they're full of shit. Just have to see how to put it. Yeah, that's all right. I just want to show you how you can move if you want to. There's something also I would like to say, and that is, listen, I can only talk about people that are relevant for me in my life at the moment, which means that, sure, I'm going through the same process numerous times. So the problems I have with women, with alcohol, with sugar, these things, they just always come back to you until you learn to simply, sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. So you have to work with those feelings. So today I had the feeling I wanted to come here, but it also took me a large part of the day to figure that one out, because I could have gone to the Boulder Hall. I could have gone to all kinds of places, but in the end I decided to come here because I realized today I want to do something a little bit more relaxing instead of just like punching through walls all the time, because I punch through a lot of walls. I go running, I go hiking, I go slacklining, I play with people, I play frisbee, right? I sit with homeless people sometimes. I do a lot of things, but at one point I also say, it's enough now. And the best is if people acknowledge it and they say, okay, you've given me something, thank you. They don't have to say it, but you feel it, that some people are actually grateful for your presence. And now I just want to show you, I didn't start with this one. If you're uncertain, try with the lower branches. Okay. I'm not gonna do lots and lots today. This is actually what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you this. Now I want to talk about it. But just to remind you, it's always a challenge, no matter what you do. I want to go a little bit into this, which seems really professional when I say that. And I cannot help but feel a little bit ridiculous. But that's just the way it is. Right? It's like, you know, I don't just go on these branches and just climb around on everything. You know, you also have to be a little bit aware of your surroundings, right? Because I could injure myself, because what you realize is I'm barefoot. And if I fall now, and I'm unaware that I'm going to fall, because I'm more paying attention to looking cool, then I will certainly be the fool and injure myself. And then the joke is on me, and I have to deal with the consequence. So that I'm trying to do what I'm doing in a way that helps me to heal, which is also why I'm sensitive with women now, because I realize they can hurt me, they can even destroy me. I mean, I've met women, and that includes the one that blah blah blah, right? And they can destroy you. There are women that are so angry at men, they will just eat you alive. And you can't really do anything about it. That's their problem. And now I realized just now when I climbed up here that I've already climbed on here. And it was all right. But you also have to realize that you feel different every once in a while. So I wake up in a different feeling than I fell asleep with. And I usually wake up in a different feeling than I woke up yesterday. Which means that every day has its own challenges, its own mysteries, its own teachings, its own lessons. So today I feel really, really vulnerable. And I cannot say that that is solely because I drank alcohol. And why do I say that? Because I drank alcohol before. And I had the feeling that alcohol induces a state of kind of like self-pity. And that's something that you can work with consciously. But if you keep drinking alcohol, then it's hard to say what is the alcohol and what is the self-pity that I, get out of myself with alcohol. And what is me? Like, where's the strong part? Because giving into alcohol is kind of like the weak part. And the interesting thing is that if you go to a Turkish supermarket, they don't sell alcohol. They don't sell alcohol. They sell all kinds of things, sugar and all that kind of stuff, but not alcohol. And alcohol makes it hard to concentrate. You can concentrate for some time. I've been writing now also with alcohol. It's possible, you can do it, but I also feel that it makes it a lot harder. And then you have to ask yourself, why do you try to, let's say, climb up a mountain, and then you put the weight of yourself, you double it and put it onto yourself again. It's like, why do you do this? Why do you have to make it even harder than it already is to feel good. Because you actually want to suffer, but you're too lazy to suffer naturally, because you can also suffer through the symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. That's actually suffering. But every day where you could really suffer, you drink alcohol. And then instead of like properly suffering and dealing with the emotions that try to show themselves, you drink alcohol, which is kind of numbing you. It makes you feel numb. A lot of psychedelics and all these things, they make you feel numb. It's also sugar, right? It's a way to escape from suffering, and I'm very good at that. So sure, at the moment, I feel incredible love for one woman, you know, and that's my problem. You have to ask yourself, what's your problem? What are the topics that are coming back to you, and what is your solution? Because it feels also like there's something really unresolved. And if I would go and sleep with another woman now, you know, I know it's gonna be over. I don't know that. That's the other point. I don't even think any other woman would really want to sleep with me and the baggage I'm carrying, because they seem to kind of sense it. You know, there's something about that guy that makes me want to stay away. You know, this is also the spiritual thing. People also are a bit intuitive, because there's a depth to me that most people are afraid of. Some people, they don't even look at me anymore. It's like, don't look at me, I don't want to see my shit, you know, I don't want to see my lies. That's how some people do it. Because when I look at them, I've become something like a mirror. Because I cleaned myself. And that means when people look at me, they see their anger, they see all kinds of things they never want to look at, because they think, you know, I'm angry because I have the right to be angry. And then I look at them and suddenly they see that that is the position they're clinging to, and it's like, damn it. Now I know. So how can I be angry and feel righteous about it if I just realize I look like an idiot? You know, I felt powerful with my anger, like, Rah! But now it shows me that my anger is actually weakness, because I cannot channel my energy and use it for something good. Yeah, somebody has to start somewhere. And you have to start somewhere as well. And I've started where I started. And right now I'm in this position of loving a woman and missing her so much without knowing really if I ever am going to see her again. Because the things that I want, they never come in the way that I want them. So then you start wondering, well, maybe I am mistaken about her. Maybe I just love the idea of a woman, and I might as well go check out another one. That also gave me something like a good feeling. You know, maybe this other one was too good to be true. Is that giving up? Or is that just, again, using what you have available? You know, this is constantly the vortex I'm trapped in. It's like, you know, I have to sort out all these things, the desires that I have. You know, is this good now or not? And, you know, where does this come from? You know, is this someone else or is it me? And until I've sorted it all out, you know, I'm trying to be a bit more patient and to just sit and do things quietly and also spend time on my own. So that I don't get dragged into the way things are for other people. Which is also why, you know, I was really certain I would buy a monthly ticket which would last for half a year. You know, I would have to get 6 months for the Boulder Hall, and I would have to, I can pay it then each month 65 euros or something, and then but you have to get it for half a year, but you pay it monthly. That's how I would like to say that. And to me, it's actually cheap, But at the same time, it also binds me here. And sometimes I'm really uncertain if I should do it like this. Everything I see is like I'm looking at my death. You know, I see there's this stick sticking out, and when I look at it, I imagine how I would walk over the tree and I would fall into it and be dead. And that's why climbing this thing today, it was the horror. Anything, even leaving the house, is the horror. I don't know why. It's like, you know, today I feel like I have to be at least a little bit careful, which is why I did wear shoes when I left the house. And I'm also gonna wear shoes when I walk back. Because there's a part in me that's just really, it's like crying. You know, there's like something really painful inside of me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I feel short on breath. I feel really vulnerable. It's really strange. I actually feel like a skin that just... I feel like a snake that just shed its skin. Because it still has to harden or something. I don't really know, right? Maybe a snake doesn't feel vulnerable after it sheds its skin, but I feel like that. Yeah, so sometimes it's really weird, because one day you feel like you can carry the world on your shoulders, and you go on boulder, and you do all these boulders, and you do 10, and it's like, wow, it's awesome. And then the next day you're like, I cannot boulder. I don't know why. Maybe I've been taking a lot of hits. I spend time with people. And the thing is that people are very toxic. People are very angry. And they push it all onto you. You know, I come to the park here. And there are these children, and I bring a frisbee and we play together. And then they go back to their places where they sit. And then I hear what they say. It's like, you know, he's a hippie, you know, but they say it a bit like, what an idiot, right? You know, it's like they're trying to stab me in the back. But at the same time, they're also using it's gossip. And of course, gossip hurts them more. You know, it says more about them than about me. Because if I can still go there, then what does it say about me? It says, you know, I can leave things behind. But I also have to acknowledge that if I don't talk about these things, at least to myself, and sort them out, that this is going to build up and pile up until I'm just going to scream at someone, or just, you know, some people, they go and commit suicide. And then the people who gossiped have to take partly the blame for that. And I get it. You know, I sometimes thought about these things, but I always said, actually, I want to live because I'm a fighter. So I want to fight. You know, I saw the door, but I never walked through it because I want the door to open naturally. I don't want to induce my death. No, I'm waiting for it, because that's how a warrior lives his life. You know, you're waiting for your death, and when the time comes, you will know it. And sometimes I just have to make choices that bring me to a place of power, because this is a place of power. Believe it or not, but this is a place of power. For me, I don't know if it is for everyone, but for me, this is like my place. I mean, I imagine myself climbing trees here like a monkey. And I may well be, because I'm training, and I'm still training, and that gives me something to do. It gives me, you know, something to work on because I'm practicing new skills just for the joy of practicing and learning. And that also means for me, yeah, maybe I have a wife. Who knows? But I also know that there are also other women. And sometimes maybe you just have to go and talk to one. Because you have the feeling I don't know, she needs something. Maybe she needs a friend. And maybe I'm just, you know, being a bit like, taking myself too serious. That I think she needs me. Maybe she doesn't. Right? I don't know that. But I can always try. You know, go there and ask her, hey, do you want to go camping with me? I mean, that is a fairly straightforward thing to ask someone. And if she says no, then I know it. And if she says yes, okay, let's try, right? Because I find it easier at the moment to ask someone if she wants to go camping, because I find that easier than to say, do you want to come to my apartment? Because camping is basically another word for sex. I didn't really realize that. But it actually is. Or isn't. You know, I'm not sure. Is camping another word for sex? Well, if you ask a woman and you both feel attracted towards each other, it feels like it could be, or it might be. But on the other hand, I sometimes think, you know, it's like, give this one a chance. Sometimes you just feel like, give her a chance. Then I think, but who am I supposed to give a chance? You know, I'm a wiggly eel. Who am I supposed to give a chance? The woman I thought was my wife? Or the other one? And it says, who do you think, man? You know yourself. Who do you think is your wife? The one that, I'm just gonna say it like this, the one that stands around smoking, drinking, you know, energy drinks? Or do you think it's the one that you met on ayahuasca ceremonies? And that you already cooked together with for 2 weeks and you managed fine? Yeah, sure, I get it. You know, I want it all at once. I'm impatient. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen. And it's driving me insane. And I'm just waiting for the day until I will make a recording and I'm gonna say, hey, it worked out. I was patient. I didn't slip and land in another woman's vagina. You know, there were times where I really lost hope. The same with my content, right? It's like, it feels like nothing's happening. You know, it's just stuck. It's just stuck at 90-something observers that don't even really watch any of my stuff, you know? They're just like following me. They don't even know why, right? They just like having me around or something. Yeah, maybe. It's really weird because I went to buy sugar and I put in my PIN and it rejected it. And I'm certain it was the right PIN. I tried it twice and it rejected it twice. And then I turned around and I said to the cashier and to the guy who was standing behind me, I said, "No heroin for me." You know, I get the message. And he was like, "Whoa, what did he just say? Did he spoke to me?" Yeah, man, sugar's heroin. You know, at least be aware of it, right? At least be aware of it when you're using it. But I can't help it. If I want to drink coffee, I want to put sugar into it. I mean, if I want to eat, let's say I want to eat, what is that I want to eat? porridge, I feel like I want it to be sweet. Because to me, porridge is a sweet breakfast. Because I've been raised into, having this kind of sweet taste. And at the moment, I also feel like I don't really have a lot of stuff. I don't really have a lot of... Yeah, I have food enough. But then I feel like I want more, right? This is greed again. I'm like working emotionally. Which means some days I wake up and there's a hole inside my chest. Or maybe in my stomach, and I just want to fill it. And sometimes it's really hard to just say I'm gonna go to the forest. And the only thing you can do is just, you have to do it. Or at least do it tomorrow, but do it. If you feel like really today you're just gonna stay in, drink a hot chocolate or something, and, I don't know, smoke some weed, and read or meditate. If you really feel down, at least at some point you just have to do something with those emotions. Because you can drink alcohol for the rest of your life and you're gonna be stuck there. But what you have to do is you have to engage with those emotions. You have to run them out. I don't know, you have to hike them out. You have to sing them out. You have to speak them out. You have to draw them out or write them out. Paint them out. You can also climb them out. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you're doing it consciously, on a day where you feel really heavy, and you just say, I'm gonna pick myself up and I'm gonna go and do something with that. When the day is you feel really heavy, I'm even at the point now where I feel like coffee doesn't really do anything for me anymore. Because a part of me learned to do this with his own strength. And not even alcohol can break me. It's really interesting. I've really learned to pull my own weight. Because coming here makes much more sense, and suddenly everything is starting to become clear again. And I realize how much sugar pulls me down. How much coffee makes me feel like raped. How alcohol just keeps me in that state of self-pity. Now I had to come here and then I had to really suffer. And now I sit here, I had to walk through my fear, and now I feel better again. Because I'm back on track, right? Sometimes you're walking the path and sometimes it's like, suddenly, I'm not kidding about this. Suddenly I feel different. I was really like this, like a beaten puppy. It was like, nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. It's like, that's how you then feel. And that's what alcohol does, that's what sugar does. It keeps you in that, I'm a baby, please suckle me. Yeah, I like doing that. Today I wanted to, my neighbor, she gets groceries from the store that they would otherwise throw away. But the problem is every time I see the casket or the basket or the tray or whatever, there's only the stuff nobody wanted in there. And today it was 1 liter of, possibly really organic milk. And I wanted to take it. And the funny thing is that I placed it on the ground and it broke. I don't know why. It's like, why did it break? I can't really say. But it broke. And what does that mean? No milk for you, buddy. You're not a babe. Yeah, but why cheese then? Well, maybe I shouldn't cheese also. Maybe I shouldn't eat cheese also. And the cost that comes from eating sugar is also a feeling that you're bloated and farting. It's the same with eating oats and cereal. It makes you heavy and you feel bloated, and it's very hard to get rid of that. But I also have the feeling I'm doing this consciously because I'm dealing with heavy emotions at the moment. And so I'm assisting my body to get rid of them. And don't ask me how I'm doing this. It's just intuition. I feel like drinking alcohol, I drink alcohol. I feel like eating sugar, I eat sugar. I feel like drinking a coffee, I drink the coffee, but only because I didn't drink the coffee today. For whatever reason, I can't say. Is that pride now? It's like, look at me, I didn't drink the coffee. Yeah, but I'm still planning to. But maybe I won't, right? Because sometimes, every time I get close to it, I say, nah, not yet. Nah, not yet. And that's something that also comes with experience, that you realize when you need what. Do I really need the alcohol now? Yesterday I drank those 2 beer, although I didn't really feel like it. I was actually afraid of drinking them. And then I drank them. And I liked it. A little bit too much, because the problem with alcohol is that it's a very fleeting feeling and you wish it would stay. Well, the thing is, you have to work for that feeling, right? It's better to work for it than to ingest something every time. It's, you know, sometimes I have these weird phrases. It says, stay. I just want to go back now. Because for whatever reason, I like being in nature. But I also feel like, I don't know, there's a limit. Because as much as I love nature, I really don't know what to do in here. What am I supposed to do here? Am I just supposed to sit here and observe animals and climb? You know, can I just do this all the time? Shouldn't I be writing books or something? Shouldn't I be producing more content or draw images? And what's the point of being here in nature? And that's what often keeps me away from it. And I think that's what a lot of people have. You know, if I would know what to do in nature, I would do it. I would really do it. Because that's what people want. They actually want to know what to do. But I don't even know what to do in nature. Am I supposed, to talk to animals? Am I supposed to just walk in nature? Am I supposed to hug trees and make sure that it's gonna rain or something? I don't know how to engage with nature even. And maybe that's why I actually want to ask her if she wants to come camping with me. Because I'm afraid to do it on my own. Well, that's a tough one to swallow. It's like, yeah, man, you're afraid to go camping, and I truly am afraid to go into nature on my own. For no reason. Because there is no reason. But I'm afraid, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna get bored. Will I have enough food? Will I have enough of this or enough of that? That's the problem that I'm having. Yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday, when I came here to climb on this tree, I was on the verge of just starting to hike into the distance for 2 days and then just come back. I had what I needed. I had enough. But I didn't do it. I went back and I said, one step at a time, take it easy. Because nature is intense. Nature is really, really intense. And that's what I've been realizing, that healing is one day at a time, one step at a time. And sometimes you look at people and you realize they start turning more into yourself. Right? It's like that girl I thought of asking if she would come and camp with me. It's like, I don't think she needs my help. Because if she would have wanted, she could have come to me and she could have said, hey, Christopher, I actually like you. Do we want to do something together? She asked me once, but it wasn't really convincing, right? She didn't really want it. And I didn't really want it, And now this opportunity is past, and now I think, damn it, maybe I should have taken it at the time, but I didn't. And now it came back, right? It's like, that's what I mean. Sometimes you say no to something, and then the next day it's like, wait, should I have said yes? And that's what I'm having now with the sugar. You know, life just showed me, yeah, okay, maybe I was at a discounter. Maybe I shouldn't have bought there. But it said something like, don't buy here, buy, you know, get it from someone else or somewhere else. Because I want to, you know, not just I want to, but I actually also do go to other supermarkets actually. Smaller ones. I don't like the big ones. I don't like the chains like Rewe and Aldi. These shops are really terrible. But sometimes I just go in there and then I buy nothing. And then I just do something. You know, last time I went in there and I wanted to buy peanut butter, the crunchy one. And then I first asked a young woman, do you know where it is? She was beautiful. Like, she had tattoos coming out, and I thought, am I gonna have sex with her? It's like, maybe she's the one? It's like, you've already met her, man, you know? Stop searching. You know, you can stop searching. Because sometimes you know it. This feeling that I have right now, I cannot explain it to you. It's not just that I'm holding the camera. It's just also when I don't film myself, I know how to get there. So stop searching. You already have it. And because of this woman that I call my wife, because she is, but you know, it's just a word. It's just a word, wife. So how can I say someone is my wife if I'm not acting like her husband? But how would her husband act? Would her husband buy sugar and drink coffee? Or would her husband... Yeah, because that's also the thing. I only, you know, when I buy tahini, the only times I just finish this like very fast is actually when I have also sugar. So then I'm using the tahini as a carrier substance for the sugar, which is basically what I do also when I eat pancakes, right? It's just, you know, I just want a little bit of substance to my sugar, and so I make pancakes. And that's just being a heroin junkie. And I think I'm just going through withdrawal symptoms. And I'm not sure how am I supposed to engage with this now. Should I just stop drinking coffee? But now I bought it. And now I have it at home. So should I not just use it? But I don't like drinking coffee without sugar anymore. And it's like, well, maybe you just buy sugar. And then you just make sure you don't just eat it all the time. And maybe right now you have a hunger for it for a reason. Because also, I do eat less sugar. Do I have to then say, I will not eat sugar at all anymore? Or could I say, I can eat sugar once in a while? And then I have phases where I eat more sugar, but then I also have phases where I eat no sugar. And that's just the balance. You know, I like working with these things. I like just looking at, all right, you know, I can really feel still that, you know, I'm sensitive. There was something working in me. I don't know what that is. I don't know why when I sit there on top and I talk about these things, why I feel different suddenly, right? Where is this suffering coming from? I don't know everything, but I react to it. I know how to react to it. I know how to deal with it. And the way I feel now is, yes, sure, I could walk barefoot all the way. But I also feel like stopping this recording And I feel like I actually want to be home in my apartment and just spend time there, because I also feel like maybe I should just clean a little, because I've been running away, which is okay, but yeah. Anyway, consciousness also comes in stages, and sometimes you just walk through a cave and it's gonna be dark for some time, and until you get out of the cave. Sometimes we even go into the cave by ourselves, and I would say that drinking alcohol is a sure way into the cave. But anyway, it's nice. You know, people ask me if I'm alright sometimes when I meet them, which is nice. It's like, yeah, I'm okay. But I also have days where I'm a little bit more busy, and then I have days where I have more time. And now I feel like I have made a lot of experiences, and I'm trying to bring them all together. And, you know, for that I have to have an outlet. And I'm talking to you because I assume that you are some form of conscious being that lives life consciously, which means that you can do the same thing in your own way, right? So you use a creative outlet to let the experiences you've made throughout your life flow into some form of content, or whatever you find nice, so that we can show humanity that AI is really a bad joke. Because if we can produce art like crazy, with passion and love and emotions, and art is everything. You know, this is art. It's just like, you know, if you really work on moving your arms, to me that's like art. And what else? What else is like art? Anything. I mean, music, whatever. I mean, you can do anything as art. Movement is art. You are a piece of art, but you're not walking around like, I'm art. You just walk around and say like, yeah, I think I'm art. Because I feel like art. You know, I don't stand around the mirror all day and look at, oh, I'm so pretty. Yeah? No, a bird sings because the bird likes singing. And so I sing because I like singing, and not because I think other people would really like my singing. You know, a bird sings because a bird likes singing. And also because it is in his nature to sing. And I really have to be asked to sing. There's constantly voices in my mind that say, sing now, and I say, I don't want to. And sometimes I do. It's like, now, I don't want to sing. But it opens you up, and that's good. So if you cannot sing today, then there's something wrong. You have to work on do some acupressure on your throat or something. Yeah, I'm a little bit uncertain as how to proceed, but I feel like today it's just, I just like to be a bit weak sometimes. I want to put on shoes, and I want to walk, and just be a little bit relaxed. Because as much as I'm a warrior, I don't know. Do I have to be a warrior all the time? I don't know. Do I have to be strong all the time? I cannot really say. Do I have to ingest things where I know that they're gonna make me weak, such as alcohol? Well, I don't have to. You know, I can if I want to, but then I also have to realize what the effect is going to be. Otherwise, I'm just gonna drift back into unconscious self, which is possible. It's possible. For me, I think at this point it's almost impossible, because for that I'm actually too awake and too conscious, so that when I would start drinking alcohol every day now, I would have these nagging thoughts that just like bickering. You shouldn't really do this, or I don't know, these nagging thoughts that we all know. And then I would say, all right. But still, once in a while, I can do it. So, if I feel really cold today, then I can wear shoes. I don't have to, but I also have to see that, well, I don't live somewhere in Mexico. And that's also the truth. I mean, yeah, okay, probably I would always have some kind of excuse. If I would live in Africa, then it would be the thorns. Now I live here, now it's the cold. Or the dirt in cities. But it's also partly the attention, right? If you walk around with shoes, it doesn't matter which shoes, to most people you look a little bit more respectable. And maybe that's what I'm going for. Maybe today I just want to look a little bit respectable. Which is also why I dress like this, why I wear these pants, but I still wear this underneath. Because it says something. I also like it. You know, I like to dress a little bit in my own way. A little bit controversial. As to what people may or may not expect. I'm still asking myself whether recording such long videos is just my new style now, but I also have to say I really have no time at the moment, I feel, to make movies like I did before. I'm sure they will come again, and maybe they will never come again, but they are still out there. But I also feel like I'm in a transitional phase, which is why sometimes I do a little bit less art for some time, so that I can just settle on, yeah, whatever wants to emerge from the depth of me, whatever new kind of version of myself wants to take charge now. Because in that sense, yeah, absolutely, man, I'm super schizophrenic. But I just learned to deal with it, right? You know, I can go to people and I can talk like a child, like, yeah, my mother said. Yeah, and then I can turn around and do something else. So it's entirely up to you what parts of yourself you give more room to. For me, my inner child is more something that I use to play and engage with others. But it also depends on how the other people are. So with angry people, I'm not going to be super vulnerable. Sometimes you have to be a little bit stern. Anyway, Hemingway. Just remember, he gave up and he shot himself, which is not an act of being a hero, but more an act of giving up on yourself. And seeing yourself as a beast, right? It's like, you know, I have to hunt myself. You know, he could have just lived. And that's also, he drank a lot of alcohol. No, it's like, poof. Yeah, without alcohol, he would have never gotten there. But then it was his choice, right? I made my own choice at the age of 26, and I said, I don't want to drink alcohol anymore. But sometimes I like it. But that's like, I also have the strength of will to say, I don't want to get dragged into this, but sometimes I like it. Sometimes I like to drink wine. Sometimes I like to whine. Maybe, why do you think wine is called wine? Because it's for people who like to whine. There you have it. Cheers.